What is up, College Football Nation? In this video, we are going to be continuing our top 5 players to be excited for series. Today, we're going to be doing the Georgia Bulldogs. I thought it was time. Last video, I did the University of Missouri, the Tigers, and now I think it's time we continue it on in the SEC with the Bulldogs. And this episode was helped along by the Georgia Bulldogs subreddit. I reached out in there. I asked some people who are some players that I should be looking out for, and I got some really good input and some good involvement with them, so I do appreciate that. And so with that being said, let's get right into it. To start off this video, I want to do something I did not do in the previous episode, which is start with a honorable mention. It was very hard to narrow down 5 players to be excited for the Bulldogs. Their roster, as well as their recruit pool, is stacked. It was very hard to narrow down, but yeah, I want to start with an honorable mention. It's going to be running back Trevor Etienne. He's a transfer from the Florida Gators. It was hard to decide between him or his running back counterpart, who we're going to cover in just a second, but Trevor, like I said, he's a running back. He's 5'9". He's 205 pounds. Definitely a smaller back compared to Robinson, the other running back. His production at Florida was better than good, but it wasn't quite great. In my opinion, it was 753 yards, 131 carries, which was good for 5.7 per rush, which is great, and 8 touchdowns, which is good. And all this production, it sounds okay, but it's even better when you consider the fact that he was on the lesser side of a running back tandem over at Florida. The other back got like 170 carries compared to his 150, and the other back got even more yards than Etienne did. Upon researching, I couldn't really find an exact reason why Trevor jumped in the portal, other than the fact that it seems like the other running back there at Florida would kind of assume even more of a share of the carries, so it looked like he was getting passed up. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the coaching staff delegates the carries between Etienne and Branson Robinson, who we're going to cover in just a moment. So, honorable mention, Trevor Etienne. And now on to the top 5. We got number 5, running back. We just talked about him a few seconds ago. Branson Robinson. He's a 5'10", 220-pound running back out of Canton, Mississippi. He's coming back for his junior season after injury, but we'll talk about that in a second. Last few years, he's been buried on the depth chart behind those good backs, Edwards and Milton. Decent size, as in height profile. That's 5'10" is fine in the SEC, but he's a big guy, 220 pounds. He can definitely throw his weight around, and he does. He's got deceptive long speed. Whenever he runs, like, his running form doesn't really look as though he's trying to run that hard, but he is deceptively fast. And he's really good, really elusive in the short running game. So if he takes the handoff when he's not quite at the line of scrimmage, he'll shimmy, and he's really good at getting into those holes. He welcomes contact. He dives ahead on runs up the middle. He follows his lead blocker pretty close, and right when he sees a lane, he'll just dive ahead. He's pretty physical. And then on outside runs, he likes to go wide. He likes to go wide around the edge. He's not afraid to put a move on the defender, so he'll try to juke, he'll spin. So like I said with Etienne, looks like he's gonna split carries. To what degree, I'm not sure, but yeah, he looks good. He's fast, he's physical, so he's a Georgia Bulldog for sure. But the big thing, the reason I moved him down to number 5 is his injury concern. So he missed the entire 2023 season that just happened. He missed that entire season. due to a torn patella tendon in his knee. He suffered that in August, so wiped out his season. It looks like the average time to recover is about 6 months, so he'll have double that by the time next season starts, and we'll see. We'll see how he bounces back. I have faith in him, and so does the good people of the Bulldog Reddit. So, Branson Robinson. Let's go on to number 4. Number 4, we got Malachi Starks. He's a safety and a defensive back, entering his junior season at Georgia. In 2023 season, he had 31 total tackles, 3 interceptions, and 7 passes defensed. One of the more experienced players I've covered in this entire series so far, seeing as how he's returning. He's not an incoming recruit, and he has not exactly been buried on the depth chart. He's been featured highly already as a focal point in the Georgia defense. He played 715 total snaps this past year. Most of his snaps are at safety, but plays a portion of his snaps lined up in the slot and plays another good portion down in the box on heavier formations. So the fans over at the Bulldog subreddit really like this guy, and his PFF defense grade really backs up the fact that he's going to be really good. In 2022, his defense PFF grade was 67.1, which is not bad. That's pretty much average replacement level for a starter. And then in 2023, his grade made a massive improvement even further to 81.1. So if you only include players with 500 snaps or more, he would be ranked inside the top 15 safeties in the Power 5 for PFF defense grade. So that's great, obviously. So yeah, he's taking care of business, and very excited to see this guy. Georgia fans, they think he could be a future first-round pick. So definitely very exciting to see if he can keep up his development track. He could maybe get his PFF grade up into the mid 80s to high 80s even, so that would be fantastic. So yeah, Malachi Starks, number 4. At number 3, we've got the new big man on campus. We've got Ellis Robinson IV. He's a cornerback, D-back. He's out of Bradenton, Florida. It's IMG Academy. 6'1", 185. Number 2 overall recruit in this past 2024 high school class. He's going to be a physical freak. He's going to have shutdown ability. His 24/7 page says ability to use the sideline well while maintaining good technique. He's got favorable physical measurables. He's got one of the longest arms in the class. Good instincts, good IQ for the position through his ability to bait the quarterback into making bad throws. Number 2 player in the country, like I said. He's going to be very high expectations, but rightfully so. If you're number 2 in the country, you are going to have high expectations on you. So yeah, he's going to be expected to eventually be a number 1 shutdown corner, and I definitely think he can be. So he'll be looked to be a future day 1 or 2 pick, and I'm going to be here for it. And for the number 2 player to be excited about for the Georgia Bulldogs, we have the guy that probably the most people were vouching for in that subreddit. We've got edge rusher Michael Williams. He's a 6'5", 265-pound giant. He's entering his junior season. A fairly modest snap count in 2023. 381 snaps over there on the edge, and he managed pressure on 11% of his snaps, which is 1% higher than the NFL average, which is kind of foreshadowing into his expectations from the fan base. Recorded 4.5 sacks in 2023 and 2022, so 9 sacks across the last 2 years. Like I said, fans were very outspoken about their excitement for him this upcoming offseason. He's very big and he's very skilled. He can win on the outside, and he's very physically dominant. He has actually spoken out publicly that he was disappointed with his results in this past season, which to me indicates he's going to be locked in this offseason, and I, as well as he, expect big things for himself in 2024. And his hype is growing as the games go on. In that bowl game against Florida State, that utter domination that it was, he recorded a 93.5 PFF grade in that game. So just utter domination, just as the rest of the game was. But yeah, he ate, and hopefully he continues to eat next year for his junior season. And for the number one player Georgia Bulldog fans should be excited to watch in 2024, it is kind of a cop-out answer, but it is my answer. I didn't need much help coming to this conclusion. It is quarterback Carson Beck. He's coming back for his red shirt senior season, I believe. He's pretty disrespected, but I'll get into that in a second. Let's go through it. He's got great accuracy, great pocket presence. I know he's not great against the blitz, but not that many quarterbacks are great against the blitz, and he can run the offense extremely well. He's very poised, and he knows what he's doing. Timing throws and back shoulders look very easy when he does them, and it makes covering his receivers much more of a challenge when you got to cover great players and their quarterback is putting it in impossible spots. It's great. If he can continue his pace from last year, if he can continue to build, he will be a serious Heisman Trophy candidate. I really believe that. Honestly, he probably should have been more in the discussion this year. I don't really see why he wasn't. This past season, 2020-23, a fantastic PFF offense grade of 91.5, which is good for 4th in the country among full-time starting QBs in the nation. He'll have a slight downgrade, in my opinion, in his weaponry on offense, but like I said, if he can individually continue to progress at the rate he has throughout his career, he's going to be really hard to keep out of those Heisman Trophy conversations. So yeah, he's my number one player that I would be excited for if I were a Bulldog fan. Just let me also say this too. He just in general across college football discourse, when it comes to quarterback conversation, he is so very underrated and overhated. Like, a lot of people say that like his success and all the things that happened was Brock Bowers at tight end, and then it was the defense that carried him, which maybe in past years it was Stetson Bennett, but even then he wasn't that bad. But the defense has been great. But no, Carson Beck is legit. I saw him. He played well against Mizzou. He played well against everybody. He's really good. I don't know how much NFL upside he has, but in that offense, he does what he needs to, and he gets it done. So anyway, guys, that is my list today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please do let me know what you thought of it. Please like the video, subscribe, and comment your thoughts, your opinions, anything you would like me to know. Anyways, I am Dixon. Have a good one, guys. See you later.